When you think about music, you probably think of notes, melodies, a good rhythm, right? But what if I told you one of the most famous musical pieces of the 20th century has absolutely no notes in it at all? Yeah, today we're diving right into that exact puzzle.
So that's the big question, isn't it? For decades, people have been arguing about the avant-garde composer John Cage. Was his bold use of silence some kind of profound musical statement, or was it something else entirely?
Okay, so first, let's tackle this from one angle. There's a really strong argument that what Cage was doing wasn't really music in the way we usually think of it. It was more like a philosophical experiment, something designed to mess with our whole idea of reality.
You see, a lot of Cage's thinking was shaped by Zen Buddhism. He felt that traditional music was way too focused on the composer's ego, the need to control every single sound and make the listener feel a certain way. He wanted to do the opposite. He wanted to take his own intentions out of the picture and just let the world be what it is. For him, the point wasn't about him crafting some perfect experience for you. It was about you having a moment of pure realization.
So the story goes, the big aha moment for Cage happened in a really strange place, an anechoic chamber over at Harvard. Now, this is a room that's literally engineered to be silent. The walls absorb all sound. It's about as close to total silence as you can get on Earth.
So Cage goes in there expecting, well, nothing. Absolute dead silence. But that is not what he found. What he heard in that room completely blew his mind and changed everything he thought he knew about sound. It turns out the sounds he was hearing were coming from inside his own body. There was this high-pitched sound, which was his nervous system firing, and a low, deep thrum, which was his own blood flowing. And this discovery led him to a pretty earth-shattering conclusion. And he summed it up with this famous quote: "There is no such thing as silence." I mean, think about it. If even a scientifically soundproofed room is buzzing with the sounds of your own body, then the world is never truly silent. So from this point of view, his pieces aren't empty at all. They're living proof of this incredible idea. But hold on, that's just one side of the coin. There's a totally different way to look at this, an argument that puts Cage's work right back in the world of music, not outside it. To get this other side, we have to talk about something that's been in music forever, the musical rest. You know, that little symbol in sheet music that tells a musician not to play. A rest isn't just nothing. It's a very specific, measured amount of silence. It's a core part of rhythm. So here's what Cage did, and it's kind of genius. He took this basic musical idea, the timed rest, and just expanded it. He stretched it out, and then he stretched it out some more, until the silence wasn't just a pause between the notes, it was the entire piece. The silence became the frame, and whatever sounds were happening in the room became the picture inside it. So, you see, he wasn't really creating nothing. Think of it more like he was building a musical container out of time. By setting a specific duration, he was basically telling the audience, okay, for the next few minutes, whatever you hear, that's the music. He was framing the ambient sounds that were already there and turning them into the performance. So this brings us to these two competing ideas, right? On one hand, you have the philosophical view, where the goal is this internal mental breakthrough for the listener. And on the other, you have the musical view, where the goal is a real sonic experience framed by time. This tension is right at the heart of everything Cage did. And nowhere do these two worlds smash together more perfectly than in his most famous, or maybe infamous, piece of all. 4 minutes and 33 seconds. Now, the setup is simple. A performer walks on stage, sits at a piano, and for exactly 4 minutes and 33 seconds, does nothing. Now, it's easy to just write this off as a prank, but if you look closer, there's a serious musical mind at work here. And this is absolutely crucial. This isn't just a random chunk of silence. The piece has a formal 3-movement structure, just like a classical sonata. Each movement has a very specific length. This isn't random, it's a deliberate composed structure. So what's the music then? Well, it's everything else. It's the cough from someone in the third row, it's the low hum of the building's air conditioning, it's the sound of traffic passing by outside. Those accidental, unintentional sounds become the notes, and that means every single performance of 433 is completely unique. Okay, so where does that leave us after looking at both sides? Is it philosophy? Is it music? What's the real takeaway here? The thing is, you don't have to choose. In fact, you can't really separate them. Cage wasn't throwing music away and running off to become a philosopher. He was using big philosophical ideas to stretch the definition of music, to ask what it could be if we just opened our ears a little wider.
And maybe that's his greatest legacy. He showed us that the core of what makes music, music, might be a lot simpler than we thought. It's not necessarily about notes and chords. All it really requires is a frame of time and our own willingness to just listen. And that leaves us with one final, very Cage-like thing to do. Just for a second, stop and listen. What can you hear right now in the space you're in? The hum of your computer, the birds outside? Because according to John Cage, that's it. That's the music.